Hey guys, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It's 12 o'clock on a Sunday, which means it's time for a Q&A. Now, this is where I take all the questions that you've asked over the course of the week, and I try to answer them to the best of my ability. Like I say every week, thank you so much for joining me on Magic TV. This channel would not exist if it wasn't for you guys watching it. So if you've watched one video or every single one of them, or commented on one video or not, I really appreciate every single one of you. Now, if you're new to Magic TV, this is the one of the most popular videos of the week. I'm going to take every question and answer it. Now, you're getting my raw and filtered opinions, right? So what that means is that I've not researched this ahead of time. If I think a question is a bit too long to answer, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and answer that on a future video. I'll create a video specifically about that subject. And one more thing that you want to know about, which is that I typically film these on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. Today is Wednesday morning. Filming it on a Wednesday. If I miss your question, I'm very, very sorry. Just ask it next week. Ask it down below and I'll get back to it the following week. By the time you watch this, I'm going to be in the States. So if you are stateside anywhere near Columbus, Ohio, come along and say hi. But I hope you guys have a great weekend. And without further ado, let's get straight into this week's Q&A. Okay, so the first question goes to Lawn and Lamplight. Law and Lamplight, who says, "Hi Craig, I need some help doing a routine. I'm changing a coin to a ring to a spoon. Now I need help changing a spoon to a fork so I can then go into liquid forks. Can you suggest a download or technique for changing a spoon to a fork? Thank you." Okay, a couple of different things. Download or a technique to change a spoon into a fork. There's a couple of different options. Now, the first thing that springs instantly to mind is Spooning Around by Axel Hecklau, which I've used for years. Now, if you don't know what that is, the whole idea is that you show a spoon and you turn it into a fork. And Axel's got a lot of different ways of doing that, including putting it in your mouth and spinning it around and turning it into a fork. He's also got a way of doing it inside a piece of paper. There's a bunch of different ways. Now, I've used that for years. It's available directly through Axel's website. It's a great prop. It's a gimmick that goes onto a fork that you get with the trick that allows you to perform the whole routine. Now, if you want a cheaper version than that, there's a product that came out a few years ago by Mr. Magic called Spoon to Fork, which is essentially the same thing, but not as well made. But it's still good enough to actually work. Now, if you saw a recent video I did on Magic TV about, it was all about how to run an awesome kids party. It included footage of me performing live at Drayton Manor and doing a kids show, a family show. I actually used that spoon to fork gimmick on that video to open the show. So if you want to see a performance of it, you can go and look at that video. So those are the two that spring instantly to mind. However, there are others. If you saw Super Lemon that came out by Henry Harriet, it was Alex Ning. He has a great gimmick that turns a spoon into a knife. So he's holding a spoon and it turns into a knife. Now, that's not what you're looking for. I get that. But that gimmick, the first time I saw that, was in a product that was released through SEO Magic. And I'm going to look it up on here now. I'm just looking on SEO Magic. They've got a bunch of stuff. It's not that one, it's not that one, it's not that one, it's not that one, it's not that one. I can't see it on there, but there is a trick that was on SEO Magic. And I can't see it at all, but it was basically a bunch of those gimmicks. So what you could do is you could turn a knife into a spoon into a fork. There was a bunch of different stuff. So you might want to look on SEO Magic. I haven't got time to look at it now, but on SEO Magic, that gimmick that is in Super Lemon, there's a bunch of gimmicks like that. So there is somewhere on SEO Magic a double-ended spoon and fork, if that makes sense. So you can show a spoon and under misdirection you can just spin it around, and then when they look back it's a fork, or you can do a visual change, and it's very, very cool. Now, the only other thing that I would look at is it Arthur Trace? Is it Arthur Trace? Hang on, I don't know. Yeah, Arthur Trace. Spoonfly, there you go. Boom, got it. Spoonfly by Arthur Trace, which is one of my favourite tricks of all time. And basically, it's Arthur Trace. Arthur Trace is an amazing magician, but he's got this thing where 3 teaspoons magically appear, travel from hand to hand, disappear at the fingertips, a whole bunch of different stuff. And he goes through various different flipstick techniques that allow you to do various different moves with spoons. But on there, he also teaches bonus ideas, and he teaches how to turn spoons into forks using nothing but sleight of hand. So you might want to look at Spoonfly. It got brought out as a DVD. It might still be available as a DVD. If not, you might be able to find it as a download. So those are probably the best references that I can think of. If you're looking for a gimmick, definitely go for Axel Hecklau. But hopefully one of those will work for you. Okay, so the next question is from Andy Putt. Hey, Andy, I hope you are well. And Andy says, thanks for the answers 2 weeks ago. I was definitely late last week. Don't worry about it. The reason why I was afraid I might insult you was because of the nature of my question last week. You could have just thought I meant to say you're getting old and your career is over. You're probably right. Why aren't you getting behind the curtains? That's why I wanted to justify the meaning behind the question. Happy you understood it the way it was meant to be asked. Now, questions. So you've got a couple of questions. Let me see if I can take them one by one. So the first question, I'm curious about the trick. I'm curious about tricks that are about music. I know tricks like Paul Fowler and Kev G, Cubify. David Jonathan, Nicholas Mavresis, instrumental. Jonathan Friedman, The Magic of Jonathan Friedman, the musical. Ryland's Dad, a playlist. G Magic, Music Box. Josh Perch, Super Picks. I count that one. Only the Picking Glass and Under the Coaster routine. I count that one too. The Picking Glass and the Under the Coaster is worth the price of the project. Thank you very much. Do you have any recommendations? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Okay, so this is probably something that would require a longer video because this is the sort of thing where I'd have to do a bit of research, and thinking off the top of my head isn't really going to be the best way to do with it. But the thing that springs instantly to mind is there's a guitar pick trick, and it was marketed by Magic Box, and I can't remember what it's called. I don't know. It was marketed by Magic Box, and I can't remember who created it, and that's terrible. And I should do, because my brain just isn't working anymore as much as it used to. But it was a guitar pick trick, right? And what was really cool about it, it was based on that classic double-headed coin concept. And the whole idea is that you had a bunch of guitar picks, and these guitar picks were all from, they were all printed with different band names. So you had Led Zeppelin and so on and so forth. And you had them take the guitar picks and shake them and throw them on the table and eliminate all the ones that landed face down. And you obviously ended up with one face up, and the one that was left face up was the one that you'd predicted from the beginning, which was a really cool way of, it's just a really cool way of doing that sort of routine. So that was by Magic Box. You might want to ask Magic Box about that. Obviously, Earworm by Mark Kirstein is a kind of the same sort of thing. Not really. I mean, Earworm will open a YouTube video that somebody, it's an app. I don't want to go too much into it, but you can use it to predict music very, very easily. Outside of that, I can't really think of anything. There's probably a lot more, especially if you expand your search to like manipulation. Like if you've never seen Oliver Tabor's act, that his competition act that he used to win so many competitions, you might want to have a look at that, because that's all based around music, and it's all the whole act is structured around musicality and producing violins and so on and so forth. So that's a really cool thing to do. But in terms of close-up tricks, you've got a pretty comprehensive list there. Obviously, you can throw digital force bag into the mix, because with digital force bag you can obviously very, very easily force any sort of music that you want to. But in terms of actually tricks that are specifically designed for music, I think those are the ones that I can think of off the top of my head. But this might make an interesting video. So what I'll do is I'll kind of put a longer video together about this, and I'll kind of highlight the most popular tricks using music that people have ever seen. I need to do some research into it. So leave it with me and I'll get back to you. Referencing the previous question, obviously there's the new thing that's just come out from Penguin, which is the invisible harmonica, where you can literally take any object and you can play a harmonica with it. Oh, well, will you pass me that pack of cards? You know, and you can play harmonica with it. So that's something new that's come out that's obviously music-based. And I remember, I think it was the French twins, but it might not have been. I remember somebody doing sort of manipulation years ago with harmonicas, and having harmonicas jump from one place to another, and they were playing the harmonica and the music would vanish and then would appear somewhere else. And on that subject of music vanishing and appearing somewhere else, that's something that Daryl explored as well with his audio transpositions. Like, he'd have a piece of music that would vanish and appear somewhere else. And obviously you've got a lot of music devices that are out now where music will be played with a special device, and you know, you've got that thing where you can pretend that you're playing musical instruments, but really it's just a very small device that's palmed. Jeff Williams was one of the first to do that with his EAR, which stood for Everything is a Radio. And he would have this thing where he took a business card and he would draw a radio on there. And when he pressed the button, the radio would start playing. And then when they pressed the button, it would stop. And then the music would start again, and he'd tear down. And as he tore down, the radio would stop immediately. You know, there's stuff like that, which can be done now. The EAR style routine can be done now with various different gimmicks, because now they're super small. It's very, very easy to do that sort of thing. But yeah, just wanted to add, there are a few other things, but I will do a video on this. Okay, so the next question from Andy Putt again is, asked you about a month ago about leather workers, and you gave some names. And from the people who responded to my question, said what I thought of was smart, but because of the complexity, they can't make it, or will be very, very expensive for a one-off. Now I'm stuck and I don't know what to do. Do you have any suggestions on which step to take? Well, if the expert leather workers in magic are telling you that it would be too complex or it would be very expensive to make, then really it's kind of a dead duck, unless you've got, well, okay, it depends on why you're wanting to make this piece out of leather. You've got three options in front of you. The first option is, if you want to make this as a one-off piece and it's not being made to market, well, then just get somebody to make it for you as a one-off piece, because it doesn't really matter how expensive it is. If it's something you want in your act, you can have it developed as a one-off piece. If it's something that you want to market, the next question is, can it be made out of something else other than leather? So you kind of explore other options. And if that's not the case, then the only other option is to go to a leather worker outside of magic, because the people that I told you about, they're really the best of the best when it comes to leather work in magic. So if they're all saying it's very, very expensive for a one-off, or they can't make it, go to somebody outside of magic and give them the same question. It might, you know, because at the end of the day, they might have a way of doing it that's not that expensive. You might want to speak to Thomas Maloney. So Thomas Maloney set up a company a couple of years ago called Genuine Magic, and he was working with a leather manufacturer to make leather goods. Now, he ended up moving away from that after a while, but the actual business, Genuine Magic, and the products he was making was quite successful, and he was making leather products quite inexpensively for the magic community. So you might want to speak to Thomas Maloney, because he has got experience at working with leather workers outside of magic that aren't magicians, have nothing to do with magic, and he was able to get a business going where they were making magic goods for him. So you might want to speak to Tom, but that would be, if you're wanting to market it, my next step, if you can't figure out a way of doing it without leather, is by going to leather workers outside of magic and getting some opinions off them. Okay, so one final question from Andy Putt, who says, a friend recommended me with the structure of a show to do Liquid Spectrum, the Sharpie cap routine, very casually, and if a routine needs a Sharpie. He told me that in an off moment when the crowd isn't expecting anything and you do that routine, you can really mess them up and gain the attention. And also at those low attention moments, I think it's really smart and funny for the magician. Do you do things like that in between? And if so, can you give us some examples? And if you don't, can you give examples of what would achieve the same kind of results? But what you're talking here is dead time. And I've always said that I'm a huge advocate of anything being done that eliminates dead time. You know, there's certain things that are dead time. When you're having somebody sign a card or you're having somebody do something, you know, I've seen magicians that'll perform and they'll have a spectator do a thing, and it'll take like 60 seconds, and they'll just be standing there in silence waiting for that spectator to do that thing, and everybody is mentally switching out and losing interest. So you want to make sure that you're doing something that's grabbing people's attention. Excuse me. So a lot of the time, let's say I'm doing, so perfect example, you know those Sharpies where you've got a colour, where you've got a card written on the Sharpie? Before you get someone to pick a card, let's say you're having them sign a card. Before you get them to sign a card, you say, can you just say stop? Can you remember that card? And you're forcing the card on the Sharpie. You say, great, now can you pick a card? Brilliant. Now take this pen and sign your card. While you're signing it, I've got a pen here, but this is not for you. I want you to watch where it says Sharpie. Paddle move, watch. That turns into the name of your card. Was your card the blah, blah, blah? It was. Brilliant. How's the card getting along? Is it signed? Yeah. Okay, great. Let's put that away. So that's an example of killing dead time. Another example is with my Spectrum Sharpie. So you can just bring out the rainbow one, and if they're signing a card, you can say, look, I've got this Sharpie here. The logo's in black, but I want everybody on the count of 3 to name a colour, or try and turn it into that colour. 1, 2, 3, and they all call out colours, and you go, well, it looks like we've confused the logo. Look at that. Now it's multicoloured on both sides. Oh, have you finished? Boom. Let me just turn it to black. And I guarantee you right there, that is a kind of a what the hell moment where everyone's just going, what did I just see? And it's really important, in my opinion, to fill those dead times with as many moments like that as you can. I carry a coin around with me specifically because when somebody's doing something, I can just produce a coin, vanish it, do a little bit of coin manipulation while I'm waiting for this thing to happen. Now, it doesn't have to be a magical moment. It can obviously be something else. So, for example, it could be telling a joke, getting somebody to laugh. You know, if there's a kid there, a lot of the time, I'll go, hey, what's your name? How old are you? And I'll just do, you know, I'll just chat to the kid. But in a way that I wind the kid up. You know, one of the best things about being a kid's entertainer, when you do close-up, you know just what to say to a kid to get them animated and wound up within seconds. How old are you? 19. Okay, brilliant. Oh, sorry, you didn't say 19. Right, it's 99. Whatever it may be. You know, just stuff like that that's really interacting with the audience and showing that you're an entertainer. Kung Fu Sharpie Cap is another great trick that you can use. But karate coin is a great routine. There's a ton of them out there that are really, really good routines, and all of them work really well. But yeah, filling that dead time is vitally important. Okay, so the next question is Darren Gregg, who says, hi Craig, I was wondering if you thought the internet is killing magic. For example, in just the last few months, I've had people pull their phone out and Google magic tricks. I performed Out of This World, and a friend Googled card trick red and black cards separated, and he immediately found out the name of the trick and how it was performed. This happened again with the ambitious card, and most recently, I performed Your Own Keymaster, and I had someone type in magic trick and hole in key, and he found Keymaster straight away. Does this happen to you? How can we avoid it? Most people, I'm sure, don't do this, but the fact that some do make me wonder if it's worth buying new stuff. Any thoughts? It's a great question, Darren. It's a great question. I don't think it's killing magic. It's a double-edged sword, really, you know, at the end of the day. The internet is, first of all, you have to accept it's not going away. The internet is not going away. Even if, at the end of this question, I summarise that, yes, the internet is killing magic, there's fuck all we can do about it. So it's kind of learn to love it, really, right? It ain't going anywhere. It's not like we can ring up and say, excuse me, on behalf of the Magic Circle, can you switch the internet off? So we have to kind of just accept it. However, I don't think it's really too much of a problem. It's a double-edged sword. On one side, yes, you can have things like that happen. But on the other side, the internet brings so many new people into magic. There's so many people that are interested in magic because of the ability to share magic online. Most of the people that book me or book my company do so because they say, oh, I love magic, or my fiance loves magic. He watches it on the internet all the time. And there's people that genuinely love magic and they watch videos of people performing and they love it. Now, are there people out there that want to know how tricks are done? Yes. That's just going to happen. That happened before the internet. It'll happen after the internet. There are people that want to learn how tricks are done. what the internet does is it helps you find out about those tricks quicker. But there's a couple of points on that. Now, the first point is, so you give a couple of very specific examples. Out of this world, he searched the name of the trick and how it was performed. That's great. However, if someone's wanting to know the secret to a trick to the point that they're Googling it while they're with you and they're finding out the name of the trick, that person, I very much doubt they're going to actually sit there and watch a tutorial on how it's done, get a deck of cards out and practice it. Have you ever tried, right, when you first got into Magic, very first day into Magic, and you talk about the ambitious card, did you ever try to watch a tutorial for a really complicated like card routine? It's just way over your head. You just won't follow it at all. It'll just look like gobbledygook. And it's even worse with the internet, because a lot of the tutorials that are out there for free that you'll find straight away are taught by people that don't have a clue what they're doing and have no business teaching Magic in the first place, which means it's even harder to follow. So if somebody Googles ambitious card or keymaster or out of this world and they see a tutorial on how to do it, honestly, they're not going to, they're probably not going to watch it. They're really probably not going to watch it because they're not really that interested. They just want to know the name of the trick, and it's something they'll forget. One of two things will happen. The people that Google and find out the name of the tricks, one of two things will happen. The first thing that will happen is they'll go to watch it, they'll get bored, they'll switch off, or they'll watch it and they'll forget about it a couple of days later. Like, that happens all of the time. Like, tell me something that you watched on the internet. Tell me something that you watched on the internet a week ago. Can you remember it? Can you remember what you watched on the internet a week ago? Can you remember a YouTube video that you watched on YouTube a week ago? Not something you're interested in, not a Magic YouTube video, but just something that you saw on TikTok while you were scrolling that caught your attention. Could you remember that video? Could you remember it from yesterday, from 2 days ago? What about 3 months' time? A lot of the people that find out this information, they're going to try and watch it. Maybe they'll watch it all the way through, but they damn sure won't remember it. Or the other option is they do watch it, they do take it in, they buy themselves a deck of cards, they learn how to do the trick themselves, and then they're interested in Magic. Because here's the thing, if people want to actually dedicate some time and they want to invest time in learning this trick that they saw you do, you could look at this one of two ways. You can look at it as a negative, like, oh, he's trying to find out how my tricks are done and learn them. Or you could go, hey, I've got somebody here who wants to learn Magic. That's cool. I've got someone who I can talk Magic with. You might want to turn around to this person and say, yeah, that's why it's called Out of This World. It's probably a bit too complicated for you to learn. Do you want me to show you something a little bit more simple? Would you like me to teach you a couple of really simple tricks that you could do straight away? And encourage that if they want to learn how to do Magic. Now, when you do that, a lot of people will go, oh, I can't be bothered. Or they'll look at it and they'll let you show them the trick and they just won't take it in. But honestly, please don't worry. And he found Keymaster straight away. Great. I guess it kind of depends on your performing style. I'm not trying to pretend I've got ungodly powers. At no point do I actually perform to lay people and make them believe that I'm really Magic. I don't walk over to a group and go, hi, my name's Craig. I was kissed by a baby unicorn at the age of 6 months. And since that date, I have had magical powers. I don't know what happened, but I walked through life having magic course through me, and I use these powers to make a signed card come to the top of the deck and make a hole move from one key to another. I am that good. Like, I'm not pretending that what I'm doing is real. I'm also not pretending that you can't find magic shops. So if somebody Google... Now, first of all, I've been talking for 10 minutes now. I don't actually at any point have this happen to me. Now, maybe it's because I don't perform for friends. I perform professionally. The only time I perform for friends is when I'm with other magicians, but I don't really perform for lay people, muggles, not magical folk, not very often. I do perform all the time, but it's in a paid gigging situation. Now, in a paid gigging situation, if somebody tried to Google the trick in front of me and show me them, and go, oh, look, I found it. It's called Keymaster. I would probably eviscerate them. I'd probably go, I'm sorry. Did you think for 1 minute that what I was doing is real? Do you think if I could really do magic, I'd be bringing the card up to the top of the deck and moving a hole in a key? No, I wouldn't. Obviously, I'm buying these tricks. There's magic shops out there where you can buy the tricks, but the real secret is not buying the trick. The real secret is learning it and performing it to a point where I can get you to care enough about it to want to learn how it's done by Googling that trick right now. That's the real secret. I guarantee if you put your credit card in and you go and buy that trick and you wait for it to turn up at your house and you watch the tutorial, you wouldn't be able to do it as good as I have. And that's not because I'm better than you. It's because I've spent a long time practicing, refining, and learning about the art of magic so I can perform to you and I can show you something that's got you so interested and engaged in my performance that you're wanting to Google it to find out how it works. And by the way, look at who created the key trick, bitch. Like, that's probably what I would do. It would be my sort of thing. But I've never had anybody do that. I've never had anybody at any point ever Google anything. But I don't hide the fact that magic is a skill. I don't hide the fact that you buy tricks in magic shops. A lot of my presentations involve, hey, I remember when I first got into magic and I went to this magic shop and the guy showed me this trick and it involved 2 coins and blah, blah, blah. That's my presentation for any sort of hopping half variation. I openly talk about learning magic and buying magic. So if they Google it and they find a sales page for Keymaster, yeah, you can buy this stuff. Or do you think it just comes out of the air? Do you think I'm, imbued with ungodly, unholy Do you think I need to go and sacrifice a fucking goat before I leave the house, before I go and do a gig? What you doing, Craig? Oh, sorry, sir, I'm just a little bit busy. What's the matter? I'm just going out back to sacrifice a goat. So I've got a close-up gig in a couple of hours. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like, fuck them. If they want to Google something, let them Google it. If they want to get into magic, that's great. But I guarantee you the people that are Googling this stuff, they're either going to get into magic, in which case that's cool, or they're doing it just because they want to show, a lot of the time when you're doing it for friends, they want to show that you're not cleverer than them, so they've Googled it. That doesn't mean anything. And honestly, in a day's time, they'll forget the term Keymaster. In 2 weeks' time, they'll forget the term Keymaster. And I guarantee you I could go over to them with Keymaster and blow them away, even if they've just Googled what the name of the trick is. So, is the internet harming magic? Not really. I think it does more harm. It does more good than harm. And I think that, yes, information is more accessible than ever before, but that just means we need to constantly evolve. So it's a great question, but to summarize, you said it makes me wonder if it's worth buying new stuff. Yeah, I think it is, but that's just my opinion. Okay, the next question is from Punkala, who says, hey Craig, follow up on last week. I did your version of Anniversary Waltz in my wedding and my now wife was moved to tears. She absolutely loved it and kept the card as a memento. That's amazing, man. That's absolutely fantastic. And that is what real magic is all about. Congratulations on getting married and tying the knot. I hope you're as happy as I am after 20 years of marriage. I do have a question. Okay, I have an Orphic Plus wallet, but I have some difficulty using it when I'm wearing a suit, and the wallet is in my breast pocket. The suit has no back pockets. I use this for the ending of my ambitious card. Do you have any tips? Or should I just change the finale? Any recommendations for the ambitious card finale? So you have some difficulty using it when you're wearing a suit, and your wallet is in your breast pocket. I don't really have a problem. It's probably because it's too low into your breast pocket. So there's a couple of different options. If you want to use it from your breast pocket, I've got big hands. I haven't got an issue. So the first option is, okay, there's 3 options. The first option is if you like using back pockets and your suit doesn't have a back pocket, buy another suit. That's option number 1. Option number 2 is practice with the inside jacket pocket. You will nail it, but it might take a little bit of practice. A lot of the time, the reason that people struggle getting it into an inside jacket pocket is because it sits too low down into the pocket. Now, there's a couple of ways of dealing with that. The first way of dealing with it is raising that wallet up. Like maybe put a handkerchief or a couple of handkerchiefs in the pocket so that it rides upwards, so that the opening is nearer the top of the pocket, and then you're going to find it easier. The second is use a guide. Like get a piece of cardboard and put the piece of cardboard into the wallet so the guide sits above the wallet, and then you just have to take the card, put it onto the guide, push down, take the guide out, leave it in the pocket, and take out the card. Now, something that I used to do years ago, I don't do it anymore, but something I used to do years ago is I use the long card. If you don't know what the long card is, it's a comically long card, and it's normally the 8 of hearts. And you bring it out part way out your pocket, and you go, was your card the 3 of hearts? How about the 4, 5, 6, 7, 8? I used to use that long card as a guide. So I would put that long card into my card to wallet, and it would work fine with an Orphic wallet. And then I would load the card into the pocket as I go to take out the long card. So as I say, I think I've got your card in my pocket. Was it the 3 of hearts? No. What about the 4 of hearts, 5 of hearts, 6 of hearts? And so now I've got time misdirection. I've loaded the card as I've taken the long card out of my pocket. I've left that on the table, and now I can take out the wallet and I can show that the card's in the wallet. So that's another option. You know, look for ways of making that loading easier. And the other thing is with the Orphic wallet, obviously, there are 2 or 3 really good no palm routines. How do I know this? Because I did the tutorial. So there's a couple of really good no palm routines on the project as well that don't require palming. So you might want to switch to one of those. As for recommendations for alternative ambitious card finales, obviously anything like an Omni deck, a solid deck, something like that works really well. My favorite way of up until, well, no, still now, my favorite way is the magic button that I released through Penguin, where the card ends up fused to the back of a button that's been on the table the whole time that they've been using to make the card come to the top of the deck. That's a really cool way of doing it. Card to box, using like a Matchulin card to box load or something like that. That's a great way to end an ambitious card routine. You could also have a deck vanish and have just the card remaining. You could do a folded card thing like paperclip, or you could have, you know, the folded up card rise out the deck, as in Sean McCree. Sean McCree's folded up rising card, which is amazing, by the way. Or my favourite folded up card revelation at the moment is the button by Chris James, which is getting released by Chris James and Yao Miranda Magic. I believe it's coming out of Magic Live. And it is, without a shadow of a doubt, the best folded up card to impossible location you will ever see. I am telling you right now that I'm calling it. This is Trick of the Year. This is Trick of the Year. The button by Chris James and Yao Miranda is going to be Trick of the Year. It's in my close-up case every single gig I do, and I freaking love it. And if you're looking for an amazing ambitious card finale, the button by Chris James. You heard it here first. It's killer. Okay, so the next question is 1581 Davis, who says, "Hi, Craig. Hope it's going well for you and your family. Love your work. Can you tell me where I can get a leather item for cheetah chips, please?" Yeah, you can get it from the Mind Hacker. Tony Antonio, who is one of my favourite people in Magic. I love Tony. I'm on the Mind Hacker now. His website is themindhacker.co.uk. And what you're wanting to do is you're wanting to go all the way down. Pro Mystic accessories, peak products, wallets and cases. Let's look for wallets and cases. There it is. Go into wallets and cases, and you're going to see case for 10 poker chips. And it's beautiful, and that's what me and Ryland use. And he created it specifically for teacher chips, and it is amazeballs. So that's where you want to go, mate. You want to go to the Mind Hacker, and you want to go and pick up his. It's how I use my cheetah chips now. So yeah, you're welcome. Okay, so the next question is Comicure 7538. How you doing, buddy? Hope you're well. Who says, "Hi, Craig. I'm very new into Magic. Well, welcome to the Magic world. I still get the shakes when performing, even one-on-one. You will do. That's human nature. That's natural. But I'm trying to throw myself into the deep end, which I'm sure is what you'd recommend. Yes, I've joined a local Magic club who have a Foolers competition in a few weeks. I'm considering entering, even though I'm getting nervous even thinking about it. Pushing yourself out of your out of your comfort zone is the best way to get ahead in this industry. The people that just stay still and take the easy route are not going to be the people that are going to be at the top of the game. That's just life advice, not just Magic advice, but advice in life. I'm currently between 2 tricks, either Instrumental by David Jonathan and Nicholas Mavrefis, or Rotogen Envelopes by TCC. I'm leaning towards the latter as it's relatively self-working, but I'm struggling with the reveal. My routine is 6 different monetary values, 1 on each card, and the game is if I can guess which amount they'll place in the envelope. They don't win any money, but if I can't guess, they win the amount they picked. I hear you mention waffly bollocks to Matt a lot, and I'm trying to think of a better way to reveal how I know which amount they picked. Any suggestions, or would you suggest instrumental is more fooling? Thank you for everything you do in the community. Okay, so what? Look, I'm just coming up with this on the spur of the moment, on the top of my moments, on the top of the head. If you had 6 different values, but they were all in pence, right? So if you had 6 different values, but they're all in pence. So you had like 25 pence, 40 pence, 65 pence, something like that. You had six different values in the Rotogen envelopes, and they're all in pence. Then what you could do is you could reveal the amount. Okay, so here's an idea. So yes, you're going to have 6 different amounts, and you're going to have a quiver, okay? And let's just say that the amounts are, okay, for argument's sake, for a minute, let's just say the amounts are 50p, £1.50, £2, and you'd want to not make it this round, but just for argument's sake, 50p, £1.50, £2. Yes. Or £1, yeah, 50p, £1.50, £2. Yes, 50p, £1.50, £2. And then you've got another 3, which is £5, £5.50, £6. What you could do is you could have a quiver, and in one side of the quiver, you could have change that values up to a quiver plus. In one side, you can have change that values up to £1. So it could be a 20p, a 10p, 4, 5p, whatever. You'd want to have a bunch of coins in there of different denominations that would make up a pound, right? And then that would make up a pound. That would make up 50p. That's right, that would make up 50p. So if they pick the 50p, the £1, and then in this pocket, in your left-hand pocket, you would have a pound coin. In your right-hand pocket, you'd have a 50 pence. So what you'd do is you'd open up your quiver and you'd say you've got a prediction in there, okay? And you'd show the coins, but they can't really see what's in there, but they can see there's some coins. You put that down and you say that's your prediction. You then have that, you point out that the 6 envelopes have got 6 different values, and you do your Rotogen envelopes thing, so you know what the value is. Now, if it's a pound, then you'd just literally, if it's 50p, sorry, you'd literally just tip the coins out of the one side of the quiver, and you get them to add them up, and it'd come to 50p, and there's nothing else in the quiver. If it was a pound, you put the envelopes away after they've made their choice, and you finger palm the 50p. So then you open up the quiver to the 50p, you tip it out so those coins coalesce with the 50p in your hand, and you hand it to them, and you show there's nothing else in there. So when they add it up, it'll come to a pound. And if it's £1.50, you put the envelopes away in this pocket, finger palm the pound, open up the quiver, tip them all out so it coalesces with the pound, and you give it them, and it's £1.50. So in other words, whatever they've landed on, 50p, £1 or £1.50, you're golden. Now on the other side, you'd have, say, for example, £5, £5.50, £6. You could change these values around. So if they pick the one that's £5, you could have in there a £2 coin, a £1 coin, a 50p, a load of coins. You know, the other side would make up £5. If they say £5, you just open up to the other side, you tip the coins out into their hand. It's exactly £5 when they add it up. If it's £5.50, you do the same thing. You put the envelopes away, you tip the £5 side into your hand, so when they add it up, it's £5.50. And if it's £6, you put these away, you tip it out to this side, and it's £6 when they add it up. So it's a way of doing exact change by Greg Wilson, but without having to work from the pocket, without needing the gimmick, and with having everything inside. You'd have that prediction in view the whole time. So you present it by saying, look, I've got a wallet here. You can see there's some coins in there. I'm not going to tell you how many coins, but I will tell you it's equal to one of these 6 values. Can you do me a favor? Can you mix them up? Can you blah, 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 all of that stuff, just like the Rotten envelope. So I'm not going to get into that now, but you end up with they end up with an amount. You could read their mind and tell them the amount, Or if you wanted to, you could say, now, I don't know the amount, but I still don't know the amount that you've gone for, but I know it's here inside this envelope. I put this here inside this wallet from the beginning. Hold your hand out for me. Can you count these onto a table one at a time? 20. 20 plus 10 is 30, plus 5, 35, plus 5 is 40. And that way, that's kind of taking the rotted envelope thing with your concept of using money. But what it's doing is it's adding an extra layer to it. It's not just doing it as it comes from the shop. But what you're doing with it is you're adding this extra layer of making it a prediction, and you've got the perfect reason to go into your pocket by putting the envelopes away. So you're effectively using 2 outs with the pound and the 50p, but the 2 outs is allowing you to get to any one of the 6 possible combinations that they could think of. And that would stand a good chance of fooling people even if they know the envelope thing, because you've got multiple principles of play. You've got the extra coin, multiple out type thing. You've got the quiver, so you've got 2 amounts, 1 in each side. You've got a lot going on there. So I'd do that. That's what I'd do. If you do that, then let me know what you think and tell me how it goes. And good luck in the competition. Remember, you're killing it. If you ever doubt yourself, just look in the mirror and you just tell yourself every single day you're awesome. Okay, so the next question is from Caleb D'Amico, who says, "Hi, Craig. The time has come when I'm about to get out of school and try to finally get restaurants to work at. This is my first time trying to get gigs, so I'm not quite sure how to approach it. I was planning on calling a bunch of restaurants near me. Any advice on how these phone calls should go? I have a reliable Chick-fil-A job as my main work, so I'm planning only starting magic with 1 or 2 restaurant gigs a week. With my age being 17 and my experience gigging magic very small, do you have any advice on how much I should be charging for my first magic job? Any other tips for getting weekly restaurant bookings? I could really use any advice on this process as I'm not really sure what I'm doing." This is not the time for this, Caleb. Getting restaurant bookings, yes, I can definitely help you with that. And this is probably something that I would be better off doing a video on. And I will do that. I'll put a video together within the next 2 weeks that'll give you all the information you need. One thing that I would say is you need to decide, when you're thinking about restaurants, you say how much would you be charging. It very much depends on the type of restaurant you're going for. The first thing that you should be doing is deciding the type of restaurant that you want to perform in. And that very much is dictated by the type of magician you want to be. If you want to be a kids entertainer, or if you want to do a lot of family shows, I would be going to the type of restaurants where families are regularly, like kind of, it attracts a lot of families. Chuck E. Cheese and places like that, because that's a place that you can go and you can give out your business card and you'll probably get a lot of bookings off the back of that. Now, if you want to be a corporate magician and you want to end up performing at high-level corporate shows, then you might want to go for more up-class venues. And one of the biggest pieces of advice I can give you is, if you're wanting to figure out what the best up-class venues are that all the people go to in a particular area, ring up any 4 or 5-star hotels that are near you, and say to them, "I've got a booking with you in 6 months' time, and it's a booking for a works event that I'm attending, and I want to take some of my best clients out to a meal off-site, and I want to wine and dine them. Can you suggest the best restaurant to go to near your hotel?" And they will tell you, they will have a list of restaurants that they will give people in that sort of scenario. Those are the best restaurants. Those are the ones you should be approaching first. So there's a lot of research that goes into getting restaurants before you actually go through the process. And the first thing that you should be doing, Caleb, is deciding what type of magician do you want to be? What type of venue do you want to work in? Because that will dictate the type of restaurants that you go to. And when you know the type of restaurants that you go to, that will kind of set the price. The other thing that you need to do is do competitor analysis, competitor research. Find out what your competitors are doing in your area and find out how much they're charging restaurants or how much they would charge restaurants. And then off the back of that, you're not going to go in and underprice yourself or overprice yourself. A lot of people will say to you, "Oh, you shouldn't do that. You should never research other people's prices." And I think that's rubbish, because you don't want to, you have no idea what the prices are in your area, right? You don't want to go in and charge massively less than everyone else. It's going to harm the economy, harm the market. But likewise, you don't want to go ridiculously higher than everyone else. So knowing this information is really useful. The other thing is, Make sure you have social proof, because when you go in and you start pitching restaurants, they are going to research you to make sure that you are who you claim to be. So having an active social media account, having a website, having proof that you are as good as you say you are is great, because you could go and pitch 1 million restaurants, but unless you can talk the talk and walk the walk, you're not going to get very far. So put all of that in place, and I'll try and drop a video in the next 2 or 3 weeks. Okay, so the next question is Sean Andrzejczak, who says, question, I don't know how up-to-date I am on BGT, since all I can do is watch YouTube videos posted here in the States. But did you happen to catch the special performance from the cast of Oliver? As you know, Simon Lipkin is playing Fagin, and both he and those kids put on a great show. I know Simon was a great magician. I know he acted on stage, but he can sing, dance, and entertain. Oliver. Yes, I did watch the performance on BGT. I thought it was amazing. I thought Simon Lipkin was amazing. Simon Lipkin is, as far as I'm concerned, one of the most irritating people on the planet. He's incredibly good looking. He's incredibly talented. He can literally do it all. He's had a career that most people would only dream of. He creates magic. And on top of that, he's one of the nicest people you will ever meet. It's almost like insane that somebody that talented and that good looking is that nice. It's just, there's a glitch in the Matrix is all I'm saying. Simon shouldn't exist. He really shouldn't. But he's an asset to magic, and I'm so glad he's here. Simon Lipkin for president. Woo! Okay, so the next question is from Yuri, who says, hey, Craig, hope you're doing well. I'm good, thank you, man. I have a question for you. What is the one trick or sleight that's been on the top of your list to learn, but you can't do it for whatever reason? I'm really curious to know. As always, thanks for everything you do. I suck at the hot shot cut. I think I've talked about this on the channel before. I have for years wanted to do the hot shot cut really, really well, and I can't. I'm terrible at it. I would love to be able to do the hot shot cut. But I think I've got to a point now where I've just given up. I've got a mental block around the whole thing. But when it comes to card magic, it would definitely have to be the hot shot cut. I'm not very good at the Rosetta shuffle. And I don't know why, because it's a relatively easy shuffle to do. But every time I try and do it, I end up mixing the cards. And I don't know what I'm doing wrong. So I kind of really suck at the Rosetta shuffle. I've really improved my double lift recently, which is nice. Trying to think of anything else that I really feel. I've always wanted to do raise rise, and every time I sit down to try and learn it, I end up just like throwing the cards after a few days of trying and getting nowhere. I just throw the cards across the room. I think I've just conditioned myself to the fact that I'm never going to be able to do raise rise. If you don't know what raise rise is, Ray Cosby, it's a fantastic move where it's designed for an ambitious card, and you see the card out jog just rise through the rest of the cards in the deck. It looks amazing. I mean, there's ways of doing it without the incredible sleight of hand. The elevator, or was it the escalator by Gate and Bloom was a great way of doing it. There's a few different good ways of doing it, but I've always wanted to learn that particular method, and it's something I can't do. So that would be, and also the Reformation by the quintessential Torn and Restored card by Guy Hollingsworth. I've always wanted to be able to do that, but again, I suck balls at it. I suck balls. I've got various different ways of doing the Torn and Restored card, but that's one that's just never. It's always escaped me. Okay, so the next question is from Alt245, who says, hey Craig, how's it going? Could you explain better what you mean when you said you went away for a time? 3 weeks, you mentioned. I haven't been following the channel closely, but I don't see any gap in the sequence of videos. Even in one of the Magic Review shows you do with Ryland, you mentioned it was the first you filmed after the break. But when you check the dates up to that video, there were videos every single week. No, there weren't. I definitely had a break. I definitely had a break for a few weeks. It was sometime in between the Atomic deck being released. So after the Atomic deck got released, there was a small vocal minority of the community that was very, very negative towards me for a variety of different reasons. It started off with a review from a reviewer whose name escapes me. I can't remember. He doesn't normally review products. I can't remember his name. Whatever, it doesn't really matter. But after that, it spiraled, and it just got more and more ridiculous, and it got inside my head. Now, I'm used to dealing with negativity. I've dealt with it my whole life, but it kind of really got to me this time. for a variety of different reasons, which I'm not going to get into now. And I ended up walking away. I did one final video, and the final video was, I don't know when I'm coming back, I need a break. I then went to America, and I told Michael not to put any new videos up, and I needed a break. And while I was over there, I've always had an issue with David from Unbiased, and we made amends, and we spoke and we chatted, and that was really good. And I said, hey, I'm probably going to come back. But it ended up being 3 weeks where I was away and I wasn't doing anything on the channel. And the break did me the world of good, to be perfectly honest. The thing with magic, it's not just magic, it's everything. When you're dealing with social media, it's very easy to attack people facelessly. And that happens from time to time. It happens all the time. And most of the time I can deal with it. Like, I'm filming this on the Wednesday morning. Tuesday last night, I had about 7 or 8 people contact me saying, hey, there's a fake internet account that's been brought up about you, and it's not very nice. And, it got taken down after a few hours because people reported it. But, it is what it is. There's always people that are trying to make me feel bad. And it's the same with anybody, it's not just exclusively me. But I think when you put yourself out there as much as I do with the amount of videos I do, and also I'm kind of an open book. I don't hold anything back. If I'm happy, I tell you guys. If I'm not happy, I tell you guys. I do the amount of videos that I do. You can kind of see when I'm up and when I'm down, right? I'm kind of very honest with that sort of stuff. So you can see when I'm happy and when I'm not happy. When you put yourself out as much as I do, you have to expect a certain amount of backlash, especially when you release as much product as I do. And not even my product, but, other people's products. I'm on stuff all the time. You have to expect a certain amount of negativity, and normally I can deal with it. It got a bit much after Blackpool. So I took a bit of time off. Hopefully I won't need to again. I probably will. You never know. But right now, I'm feeling good. So hope that explains the timeline. Next question is Divishan Magician, who says, in a 2-hour mix and mingle gig, do you have a limit as to how many times you repeat the same trick? I usually repeat it to a maximum of 3 times. I don't really think that much about that, to be honest, Divishan. I have tricks in my pocket, and each trick, like if I'm taking a focus deck with me, for example, there's 40 tricks I can do with that. That if I'm taking a deck of cards, there's millions of tricks. So I'm going to be in a situation that when I go to a gig, I've got multiple options, multiple options. So I don't think about how many times I've done a trick or how many times I haven't done it. I just do the trick that I think is best for the group that I'm performing for. One thing that I will say is there's certain tricks that I end up performing more than others because they're visible. You can see them from a distance. So I do a Rubik's Cube routine in close-up that has a moment in it where I throw the cube up in the air and I catch it and it solves. It's the Brundage toss solve. And I get that a lot when I go over to a group and they go, hey, what were you doing throwing the Rubik's Cube up in the air? That looked really cool. So, I'm not going to turn around to them and say, well, I'm not going to do that. So I will, there's certain tricks like that I'll end up doing more than others for that very reason. But outside of that, I don't really keep track on it. Okay, next question from Divishan Magician, who says, who do you think the hacker on Britain's Got Talent is? I think it's Jack Rhodes. Divishan, it is 100%, absolutely, without a shadow of my doubt in my mind, it is Jack Rhodes, yes. And I will be shocked if he's not on BGT this Saturday. I mean, as this is going up on Sunday, I guess you'll know if I'm right or not, but I have a feeling the hacker will be on there on Saturday. Okay, so next question from Divishan Magician, who says, what's your opinion on this? Before the drinks reception starts, I go up to the staff and politely ask them, if you see me performing to this group, please try not to come in and give canapes to that group. Choose a different group, please, or at least wait until I finish the trick. You will know when the trick's done because people will clap. Do you think this is a good idea, or is it a big ask and unfair on the staff? I think, and I don't sugarcoat stuff on this channel, as you know. I've had people in the past say, I wouldn't ask questions if I was Divishan. I think that you're amazing, Divishan, and I think that you're doing a lot right, and I can see the entrepreneurial spirit in what you do, and my hat's off to you. I am telling you right now, that is the biggest, dumbest, fucking stupid idea I've ever heard in my entire life. Because here's the thing, you, as a magician, generally are a box-ticking exercise. You are there to tick the box. They need a magician, right? It's rare that you go to a gig and it's all centered around the magician. It can happen if you're performing on stage as part of a big illusion show or whatever. But if you're just doing close-up magic, you aren't the most important person there by any stretch of the imagination. But you know what the venue think? The venue, ultimately, you want the venue to love you. The reason you want the venue to love you is because you want them to go, well, that guy was really good. Maybe we'll contact him about a future event or whatever the case may be. Or if the boss of the venue or the boss of the wait staff is speaking to the client, you don't want anything negative that they can pass on to the client. You want to keep that venue really, really happy, right? And to turn around and say, if you see me performing to a group, don't come up to me and give canapes to that group, choose a different group. That, first of all, they have a job to do, and their job is as important as yours, if not massively more important, because their job is to get food into people's mouths, right? They can't choose. They normally have a set pattern that they get around, or if they haven't got a set pattern, they're going up to a certain group of people because they haven't got food. You know, imagine if you were with a group for 10 minutes and it's the last 10 minutes and they were going to go up to that group and they didn't because you told them not to, and then they ended up not getting canapes. This is a really bad idea. I'm telling you right now, it's a really bad idea. What you need to do is you need to learn how to work around people coming up and bringing canapes. Figure out some jokes to tell. So when I'm performing and someone comes up and does canapes and I'm just in the middle of a card routine, I go, well, I'm going to stall here. I'm going to stop right here. Food is more important than magic. Who wants canapes? And what I will do is they normally, the wait staff aren't very voice projection-y, right? They won't really be able to do that. So I go, hang on, stop. Who wants canapes? Guys, we've got, what's your name? Sarah. We've got Sarah here. She's got canapes. Who would like canapes? Do you want a canapé? You want a canapé? You want a canapé? Go grab canapes. Is that cool, Sarah? Have you got everything? Great. Let's give her a big clap. Brilliant. Right, let's move on. What was I saying? Yes, so your card's in the middle of the deck. Now, this is amazing. And learn to actually adapt to that situation. I actually go one step further. Normally when I'm at an event, I'll speak to the main catering manager first of all, and I'll assure them that I'm not going to get in their way. The biggest problem they have, and the amount of people I've spoken to that are in that role, and they turn around to me and they go, please don't get in the way of service. Because they have had magicians come in the past that have egoed their way into being more important than the wait staff, and it's caused problems with service. So I turn around to them and I say, look, I know the most important thing here is you have to organise getting 150 meals out to these people, and you have to make sure that all of the staff are doing what you need them to do. I assure you that if I'm in the way, I will step back, okay? And I will do that. And I'll even go up to the wait staff, and if they're having a conversation, I'll go, hey guys, just so you know, if I'm performing to a group of people, feel free to come over. I can stop while you're giving the canapes out. Not a problem at all. And I'll actually bring them in and I'll make them part of the thing. So while they're holding the canapes, I'll go, what's your name, Sarah? This is Sarah. Let's give Sarah a big clap. Sarah, can you do me a favour? We're in the middle of a trick, but could you name a card for me? 6 of diamonds. Now, Sarah's going to be my glamorous assistant. And while this is all happening, they're grabbing canapes. And I say, Sarah's going to be my glamorous assistant because she could have picked, and I'm culling the card now. She could have picked any card. She picked the 6 of diamonds. Sarah, do you want to tell them or shall I? What are you going on about? Look, behind your ear, it's the 6 of diamonds. Oh, yeah, that's amazing. Give it up for Sarah. Anyway, what was I saying? Excuse me. Make it part of your show. But I cannot stress this enough. Please do not do that. It's not a good thing to do. Okay, next question is from Jeffrey Sparks, who says, I really appreciate everything you've done. Your story and how you started in magic was super inspiring. I'm thinking about setting a stall up in London, and I was wondering if you could share where you got your stock from for the stall and what sort of tricks would you sell. That would be a huge help. I'm actually doing a video on this very, very soon with links to wholesalers and various different places. So that if you do want to open up your own market stall, I'm going to tell you how to do that, and I'm even going to tell you what tricks to pitch. So I'm not going to go into it too much right now. I will tell you my main lines when I started were Svengali decks, stripper decks, spot paddles, cups and balls. They were the main, and sponge balls. They were the main things that I did when I first started. Now, I'm not going to say anything else. I'm not going to say anything else because I'm doing a video on this, but I will tell you that absolutely setting up a market store is a fantastic way to making money quickly from magic, and really helps give you a leg up to the next level of your journey. So you're doing the right thing. Well done. Okay, so the next question is, hi Craig, thanks for answering my question and sharing your tech rider. I'm wondering how you get the tech team to have the exact music cues of playing and stopping at the right times, projection cues on the screen throughout the show, and the lighting, since this isn't on the tech rider. Yeah, okay, so there's a couple of different options here. The first option is you use solo or something like that, and you control the music yourself, especially if you've got complicated cues. Now, a lot of the time, if I'm just doing a cabaret, I don't really have any cues to worry about. If I'm doing an illusion show, they are very complicated. I have a really cool, quite expensive Bluetooth thing that runs off an XLR cable. So if I go to a gig, a lot of the time I'll say, look, I just need to connect my iPad or my laptop to your system. And they'll go, have you got a wire? And I go, no, I need it backstage. And they go, well, there's no way to do that. And I go, yes, there is. Use this. And I give them this thing that cost about 100 quid. I spoke to a friend who's in AV, and I said, I need something that will connect my devices up to a sound desk from a mile away that's completely reliable. And he gave me a link. I paid about 120 quid for it. I take that to every gig, and every single AV person, every single sound techie will say, oh, we can't do that. And I go, here you go. And they go, oh yeah, we can do that. And so they just plug it into their system. I connect to that, and then my assistants in the show are running the music in the wings, because they have the iPad or the laptop set up, they have the list of show cues, and they know what they need to press and start and stop in order to do the thing. So I like to run it myself. If you are wanting to get a sound guy to run it for you, make very detailed notes. So I will go, right, track 1, opening track. Play it after we are compared on stage. Stop at the end of the track. Boom. Trick 1, Crystal Casket. Opening track, Costa Danza. Play it when Craig says, start the music. Boom. Stop when Craig gives this gesture. And it's all typed out. And this is how I did it in the Holiday Park circuit. I don't really do it this method anymore, but I used to a lot. And I would literally just say to them, here's the tech sheet. Do you have any questions? No. This has got everything written out that you need to know. Here's the music on a USB. Or would you like it on an iPad? Or would you like it this way? Would you like it that way? Brilliant. Done. So there's a few different ways of doing it. Solo is great to look into. Look at solo. It's very, very good if you're a one-man band and you want to operate the music yourself and your sound cues yourself, because it's based on picking objects up and tags and so on and so forth. You can do it without even needing any sort of advice. Audio Ape is a great system as well, but you are going to need a remote control. It just depends on the type of show you're wanting to do. Okay, so the next question is from Stephen Devereaux, who says, hope you're well. Not sure if you know the name, but I had this trick when I was 7 from Supreme Magic. It's a web and a spider drawn on a round board or a frame that you could spin. You get someone to choose a card and put the card back and throw all the cards at the spinning board. Where the board stops spinning, the spider has it in his mouth. I used to love it, but I have no idea where to get another one or the name to look it up. I have no idea what you're talking about. I will do some research for you, because that sounds cool, but anything, it's guesswork at this point. I've got no clue, but leave it with me and I'll see if I can find it for you. Okay, so the next question is from Magic Elliott, who says, I've been playing with the Crazy Compass, Crazy Arrow type trick again recently. I know it's talked about as a children's stand-up trick quite often, but I think the optics of the illusion on the small close-up versions are great. Can you recommend any good full routines with an ending, or show us versions you've used yourself? Yes, I haven't got one on me. I'll do a video on this if that's okay. And I'll go through the various different versions. I've got I've got a Wolf's Magic version that I use on stage in a family show. I've got a couple of close-up versions, so I know exactly what you're talking about. And I love that trick. So yeah, leave it with me. It's a great idea for a video, so I'll get onto that. Magic Elliott has got one last question, which is, do you think Alex Antley's original 4-card trick is good? I think it's probably the best packet trick, despite it being so old now. I think it's very good. I think it's very, very, very good. Honestly, I think there's packet tricks that are better. I think it's aged well, and certain packet tricks haven't. I don't, however, think it's the best packet trick ever. Or the best packet trick now. I think there's a lot of stuff that's come out, especially from John Bannon's camp, that probably eclipses it, but I do think it's very, very good. Okay, so one final question is Mooney D911, who says, thanks so much, Craig, for everything you do for the Magic community. You are more than welcome. Thanks for sharing your amazing story with us as well. You're more than welcome. Super quick question. What's your current go-to card to box that you use for gigs like Paragon 3D, Mystery Box, Mint Box, etc.? If we're talking about folded up cards, it's got to be the Button by Chris James and John Miranda. I have been playing with this for about a year. I'm very lucky. It's getting released at the Magic Live convention, and I was lucky enough to do the tutorial for it, and I have, some would say, gone overboard on the amount of tricks on there. I think even by my standards, it's ridiculous. But it is, without a doubt, the best folded card to impossible location there is. And nothing else even comes close. Just because of the premise behind where the card ends up, they don't realise it's a card to impossible location. The problem with a lot of the folded card to impossible locations, whether it be the mystery card box, Paragon 3D, whatever it is, they know when you put that box on the table, their card's going to be in there. They have no idea how, but they know that that card is going to be there, especially when you go to pick it up. But with Chris James's trick, the button, they think that the button is being used for something else. And in actual fact, during the course of the routine, it is used for something else. It's why it's so, it's hidden in plain sight. And because of how it's been made by Jan Miranda and his team, you can use it as a lie detector thing. You can use it as a way of making the magic happen. There's so many different ways you can use this thing. But then at the end, when the card actually appears inside the device, they never see it coming. They never, ever, ever see it coming. And that's one of the reasons why it's so strong. So, and I've advised people said to me at a convention I went to recently, I want to make a folded up card going into an impossible location. What should I use? And I said, I would hold off on your money and look for the Button by Chris James, because if you buy something now, you will literally put it in your bottom drawer come Magic Live, because this is trick of the year. I'm calling it right now. Button, Chris James, Jan Miranda, trick of the year. It's a done deal. No one's going to come close. Right, there we go. That is another Q&A on this channel. Thank you once again for joining me right here on Magic TV. Magic TV. Don't forget, you want to see more videos like this, like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below. I'm going to be back again very soon with another video. I've got a review show special going up tonight, so look out for that. A bunch of videos going up next week. There might be a couple of gaps because I'm in America, but we'll do what we can do. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Thank you for your support. Thank you for joining me. And don't forget, if you want to join the Netrix, it's my online streaming platform for magicians. I have just put my lighter trick up there, which has been a closely guarded secret for a decade. I've finally put it up online. That's on the latest upload, along with a bunch of other stuff. Check out the Netrix by going to thenetrix.com. I will see you again soon. Thank you so much for watching. My name's Craig, and this is Magic TV.